Yeah.
Got it.
Also, actually, something very exciting happened to me today.
What
Um,
was that?
so we have like a strength class at my school, and I finally broke my PR in deadlifts. So I was actually
Awesome.
happy about that.
Ah, it's awesome. Well done.
And thank you.
How long has that PR been your personal record for?
Well, I started lifting this year because, well, we just like, I never was in a weight room because no one like taught me or anything. But I think it was just because I hadn't put down what I was normally doing in a while. So I ended up, like, I went heavier by a lot, which was just surprising, but not very long, I don't think. Just because, like, the school years.
Yeah.
It's really,
Well, congrats nonetheless. That's awesome.
yeah, it was fun. But I'm gonna be so sore tomorrow.
That's
That's
how it
actually
goes.
gonna, yeah. Okay. Well, obviously you know my dad, but I'll say a little bit about me. Um, well, we just moved to Chattanooga, Tennessee, which it's 71 degrees and it's really awesome. And
Wow.
then I'm in ninth grade. I play a lot of tennis, and something I'm interested in is I'm on the mock trial team, and it is it's a lot of work, but it's really fun. And yeah, I guess that's a little bit about me.
Nice. No, that's awesome. Thanks. Thanks for sharing that. And when your dad was back around these parts in the Northeast, where were you guys living? Greenwich, right?
Yeah, Greenwich.
Nice. Where in Greenwich were you living?
So you know where Greenwich Library is?
Yep.
Like a block from there on Groveland.
Oh yeah.
Like yeah,
Awesome.
right there, that house on the corner. If you're ever
Nice. Yeah.
driving by and you see like these big, like the big row of trees.
Yeah. So yeah, a little bit about me then. I currently live in Greenwich,
Oh,
which
no
is
way.
yeah, which is why I asked. I actually saw your dad when he was on a jog one time, which was pretty funny.
What?
Um, but yeah, no. So I originally grew up in Westport, Connecticut, just north of here, and
Cool.
ended up deciding to go to the United States Naval Academy in Annapolis, Maryland, and then from there ended up commissioning in the Marine Corps. Um, Went all over the place, deployed all over the world, but I was stationed in California for just about the 5 years that I was in, and I served as an infantry officer. And then my wife and I decided that 20 years of being in the military was probably not for us, so we thought I would transition out and do something new, and we decided that I would go to grad school, and I got my MBA, and then after my MBA, I was fortunate to come back to KKR and work in a similar capacity to your father, and now I live in Greenwich. So that's been my full circle.
Yeah, that is pretty full circle. What high school did you go to? Because I had a friend, well, she goes to boarding school now, but she lived in Westport and she went to like one of the public schools.
Yeah, I was at Staples High School.
Oh, cool. Cool. That's nice.
And before that, so you're in ninth grade, so maybe she was at either Bedford Middle School or Coleytown.
Yeah, she went to Bedford, but she told me that people called Coldy Town Moldy Town.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think they just
Very
fixed
funny.
that. They just like knocked down the whole place and then
Oh, geez.
um hopefully fixed it. Because yeah, there was like an actual mold problem there, which is
Oh,
pretty funny.
really?
Yeah.
That's wild. Okay. Um, so that is actually that is really full circle. Um, so my first question is, like, how would you describe yourself in 3 sentences? Yeah, this one
Uh
is broad.
yeah. No, that's a good question. I think I would describe myself as a disciplined person who cares deeply about relationships and who wants to live life to the absolute fullest that I could live it to. And I think that that was essentially one sentence. So hopefully I get bonus points for
Oh
making it
yeah.
succinct.
That's
But I
awesome.
think I think that sums it up. At the end of the day, I think relationships are critical. I think discipline allows you to get the stuff done that you need to get done. And I think if you're always trying to live life to the fullest, then I think you'll be grateful for it at the end of the day.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. That reminds me of something that, well, actually, me and my friends did not coin this term, but there's this YouTuber and he always says, like, do what excites. And obviously, we're in high school, so there really is not much responsibility aside from schoolwork. But honest, that's a really good, I agree. That's awesome. Those are good core values. So initially, why did you decide to serve?
Yeah. So if you are at least a little familiar with Westport, I mean, it's pretty similar to Greenwich.
Hmm.
Um, it's a beautiful place to grow up. My family was intact. I never had to worry about shelter. I never had to worry about food. I had a very good life growing up. And oddly enough, I think it made me feel pretty guilty for the incredible life that I had. Coupled with the fact that my town was a commuter town. It still is, but it used to be more of a commuter town. And I think the events of 9/11 actually had a pretty significant impact on the people that lived in the town that I grew up in. So all those reasons, I think growing up at a time when we were heavily engaged in Iraq and Afghanistan, while I was also living a really, really good, comfy life, kind of motivated me to want to go out and do something different, to go out and kind of earn the life that I really hadn't earned myself. And that's what drove me to want to go to the military. And it freaked my parents out, and they wanted me to not go, but I convinced them I was pretty serious about it. And yeah, that's what set me on my path.
Yeah. Not a lot. I just can't even imagine like being, especially in a commuter town, like where everyone who lives there, not everyone, but most people commute to New York City every day. That's a lot. That
Yeah.
reminds me of I have a good friend. Her dad, um, is basically like an Israeli refugee, but from like way before, not from the most recent conflict. But
Hmm.
he wrote a book about that, and I agree. It like there's definitely so much to be grateful for. Um, what was one of the best parts um about joining the military for you?
The people, hands down, first and foremost. Um, you go through, and this is true outside the military as well. Anytime you go through a difficult event with people, if you go through it together, you certainly form a bond that's pretty special. And in the military, you just have a multitude of opportunities to go through difficult times together with people to the left and the right of you. Whether that's in training, whether that's deployed, whether that's just time away from family and loved ones. You can go through a lot, and you are heavily dependent on the people that you're going through it with. And so I think at the end of the day, the people that I was able to serve alongside are people that I talk to, you know, daily, weekly, monthly. Even people that it's funny. My wife and I were talking about this. There's some of my closest friends and best friends, and the people that I would call in my most dire needs. Um, they are people that I don't even see very often because they're living in Texas. But the years that I spent in the Marine Corps with them are life changing. So at the end of the day, yeah, it comes down to absolutely the best part of the entire time in the military was the people that I got to spend the time with.
Yeah, no, I bet. When you like think back about your time and these like special friends, is there like a specific memory that you can share that is just like, or like a few that just really like one of your core memories from that time?
Yeah. Yeah. So there's a few that pop into my mind. Um, so during infantry school, you go through 1 week in the Marine Corps where it's called Offense Defense Week, and you go out for 6 days, and you pack out only 5 meals. So you have 5 meals for the 6 days that you're out there, and throughout the whole time you're hiking just an unknown amount of miles with an insanely heavy pack, and you're not sleeping at all. I mean, I think I slept 8 hours across 6 days. I mean, it was just
Whoa.
ridiculous. So you're completely sleep deprived, you're starving, you're exerting yourself. And the last night, my buddy Brandon Dudek came up to me, and he sat down in the foxhole that I was sitting in, and he said, um, hey dude, you got any food left? And I looked down and I was like, no, I got nothing left. I was like, why? You got something? He was like, yeah, I have a few crackers. Do you want to split them with me? And I was like, no way. Are you serious? He goes, yeah. Let's split them. And it sounds so crazy, but a few crackers after 6 days of starving yourself and exerting yourself is like a full course, like filet mignon meal placed in front of you.
Yeah.
So given the situation, uh, you have a buddy that's willing to give up literally the last bits of food that he has, just so he can provide for you. Things like that are pretty special. And I have a million other stories that are similar to that, um, but yeah, that'd be one of them that I think highlights just the fact that you're always leaning on folks that you're going through hard times with.
Yeah. That's a really funny story. I imagine like after 6 days is a really long time, especially
Yeah.
in that kind of condition. Um, when you were deployed, what were you like doing in California?
Yeah, so I was stationed in California, and I deployed from there. I deployed on what's called the 15th Marine Expeditionary Unit. Short, you call it the 15th MU. And we basically we hopped on a ship that's called an amphibious ship, and we took that ship and transited through the Pacific into Africa, into the Middle East, and then back through the Pacific. And we did a whole bunch of different mission sets, um, everything from host nation training to embassy reinforcement to drone strike operations. We basically served in a lot of ways as like a global 911 almost. So whenever we come into a new theater, we would be there on call for a specific mission set that area had for us, and then we would service that area for a few months and then move on to the next. And so we did that for about 7 months.
Wow. Um, what is something that you had to sort of learn to accept or like that was tough to deal with in the military?
Um, Learn to accept or tough to deal with. I think, yeah, I had to learn to accept um spending time away from the people I love, and specifically my now wife, who we're actually high school sweethearts. So we had to, when I left for the military, when I left for the Naval Academy, I should say, that was kind of the first iteration of figuring out how to be away from the people that you love and care about. And then that just got harder and easier at the same time. Harder because I ended up deploying. I ended up getting into the Marine Corps, which was a lot harder. I ended up having more time apart, but it became easier in the sense of, um, we learned how to grow together even while we were apart, and that was something that I had to kind of, figure out. And I'm grateful for it because, yeah, I mean, we've been together for a long time now, and shared a lot of great memories together, and yeah, I'm just grateful for all that she sacrificed too, because that's a big part of serving the military. Your family doesn't sign up for it, but they sacrifice. It's just the reality of it.
Yeah, that's so sweet. Um, what skill do you think has helped you the most that you learned from the military?
Um, Good question. Um, I think I think this is going to sound ironic because I took a second to think about my answer, but being decisive. I think being decisive is something that is critical in a lot of areas in life, and in the military, it's incredibly valuable. You're not all we call it a 70% solution. You're not always going to have 100% of the data or the information that you want at any given time. So you have to be comfortable operating with a 70% solution and coming up with a decision and moving forward, and then sometimes failing. And and when you fail, you gotta figure it out on the back end. But there's also good reasons to fail quickly. And I think if you're decisive, you can kind of get to failure quickly, and then you can pick up and learn from it and succeed, after the fact. So yeah, I think this decisiveness.
Yeah, that that is definitely important. This is my favorite question, but it also, like my other questions, it's pretty vague. Um, what advice would you give to, I guess just young people who are interested in serving?
I would say come up with a true reason as to why you're interested in serving. I think there's a lot of reasons to join the military, and I think there's the military at large is very different. Like being in the Navy is very different than being in the Marine Corps, and being in the Army is different than being in the Space Force, for example. So there's different reasons that I think make sense for different branches. And there's a lot of bad reasons to join the military. And I think, the Naval Academy is a good example. I mean, I saw a lot of folks that came to the Naval Academy as freshmen, and they ended up leaving pretty quickly because I got recruited for soccer, and I'm grateful for it, but I wasn't going to the Naval Academy for soccer. I was going to the Naval Academy to serve in the military. And some people came to the Naval Academy. I had teammates that came to the Naval Academy for soccer and quickly learned that they had to figure figure it out. And some of them left early on. So yeah, I think come to terms with an actual reason as to why you're interested, and really ask yourself that, and have that self-evaluation. And you might get to the point where you recreate and figure out that there's a really good reason, a burning desire that you have to actually serve your country. And you might come together and figure out that you were going to join the military for the wrong reasons. So I think have that honest conversation with yourself.
Yeah, I think that also ties in with what you said before about being a disciplined person, like getting yourself into stuff because you want to do it. Um, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's so cool. You were recruited for soccer. What position did you play?
Center back.
Oh,
So mostly center back. When I got to the Naval Academy, I played right back and center back, and then settled on mostly center back. Yeah.
nice.
Do
That's
you
awesome.
play?
No, I don't play soccer. I mean, I did for like like a year in third grade, but I mean, I have a lot of friends who do, and it's definitely there's like actually a pretty cool soccer culture in Chattanooga,
Nice.
so it's
Yeah.
pretty awesome. But yeah, hopefully I can get recruited for tennis. But anyways,
Yeah, that'd be great.
that would be awesome. But that's kind of all the questions I have. Thank you for meeting with me so much.
Yeah. Look, why, so I talked to your dad about this a little bit, but what is the spark that's made you interested in sitting down and talking to veterans?
Well, when I come to think of it, I before I started this, I obviously knew what a veteran was. Like I knew that you had to have served to become a veteran and all this stuff, but I didn't come to think of it, I didn't really know any. I mean, I know my parents knew some, but I didn't I guess I didn't really understand, or I wanted to understand why people would, like, the specific reasons why they would want to join the military, because I know it's important, and I think um knowing why people do that just personally was, I think it's really, really interesting, because I know I want to serve one day, but I think talking to people about why they did it and their experiences is just, I think it's like eye-opening. I think it's
Yeah.
really interesting.
No, it's great. Um, and may I ask why are you interested in serving?
Mm, I think it's really important. I think it's really important, and I think that probably not enough people, especially in like nowadays, know that importance. And
Yeah.
if I can do anything to help, um, I mean, I would just like I'll do anything I can to help our country. And also I think the things it stands for, I agree with a lot. Like you said, like discipline has come up so much in all of the interviews I've done, along with just the people that you meet there. And I think if I can be a part of that, why wouldn't I?
Yeah. No, that's awesome. No, that's great. Um, well, look, if you're ever interested in learning more about different branches or different service paths or whatever, you're only in ninth grade, so you got some
Yeah.
time. But as you start figuring that out, like more than happy to connect again on it. If I could be helpful.
Thank you. That actually is really helpful. Um, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Sure.
Well, it was nice to meet you.
You as well, Maud. And yeah, thanks for setting this up. Please tell your dad I say hi,
Oh, for
and
sure.
I need to get a beer with him next time he's in the city.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Have a
See
great
you.
night. I'll see
Yeah,
you.
you too.
Thanks. Bye.